welcome back. So, my next topic today is. Excuse me. So, my next topic today that I'd like to get into is a personal favorite of mine. Um, it has to do with finances and financial literacy. And so that's something, I know a lot of us, we hear all these people who get online and they are just financial advisors. They are just financial experts. And, they're riding around, they're trying to prove it to you by saying, hey, look, I got the Rolex and the Lamborghini and the big house. The reality of it is, most of that is facade. Uh, most of the stuff they do is you have to be really pre-positioned for that. Lamborghini payments average about $4,000 a month. Let's be honest, and they were doing something different to be able to get in that position. And that's not saying that you can't do the same thing. There's a dummy born every day. There's a millionaire born every day. But this is my take on it. Excuse me. This is just my opinion. This is some of the advice that I have for people. So hear it out, listen to it, and let me know what you think. Because working for money is not so appealing. But our money working for us, now that sounds more like it. But with the school system not teaching us about money as it should, most of the generations before us were working like slaves. Um, and the slaves of the industrial age's teachings is what they base their work ethic on, and their money, and basically everything. Excuse me. Dry throat this time of year. But, so how do we learn to make our money work for us rather than us working for money our whole lives? Thankfully, we live in a time where the internet and advisors and people who will actually work to our benefit exist. New age tools have allowed us to learn truly useful knowledge when it comes to handling money and priorities. So we must stop listening to the people who have punched the clock for the last 30, 40, 50 years, even 60 years, some of them. They don't know anything about money. They don't know how to get rich. Yeah, you got a house, but you're probably still making payments on it, and it's like you don't work because you love your job. You just know you're not going to be able to pay your bills if you quit today. That's the reality of it. We don't want that to be our reality. That sounds awful. Um, and we have to start talking and taking advice from people who are actually successful. you know? Now, we know many working the 9 to 5 clock punching kind of lifestyle do work out of passion. Doctors, nurses, firemen, photographers, florists, the essential workers, and those of the arts are, mainly are paid poorly, but truly are passionate about what they do. You know, many of us regular people go to work like most because we have bills to pay and mouths to feed. The pays are low, the hours are long. We have a very false sense of what the benefits, actually are. We live paycheck to paycheck and can't afford a day off. Even if your underskilled, privileged boss, actually allows you a day off. 12 to $18 an hour, a week off, a year, 50 years, that adds up to an estimate of about a year, a year off, from work after a whole lifetime's, punching a clock. And that's just a year that we have to ourselves, to our families, to our free time, to explore what we would like to do. That's even if we live that long. And the age of retirement, that's basically over, for nearly all of us. Cost of living increases while wages pretend to keep up. They pretend like they're going up. equal to what, cost of living is. Many of the older generation went to work every day for a paycheck with no further investment due to their, and due to their rent and light bill, you know, getting paid, they truly feel like they were successful. Well, I provided for my family. I paid a light bill. I always pay my bills on time. We know. We've seen you do that for 50 years. It's time to, do something else. Maybe pay the house off. But how are they? Never retire, but attempt to cover up the reality that they love and have such great work ethic that even in their old age and health condition, they continue to work. But it's clear to the youth they continue working due to their lack of understanding how money, time, and investments actually work. So much to review on the matter, and for those new to life in the workforce, how do we weigh everything out and move to to not end in the same position, Well, key word to dwell on is investments. You have to save your money so that your money can save you. And then once you've saved it, if you're going to invest it, know how to invest it. We have to utilize our time and our paychecks as best as possible, so that we can have interests and passions. We can generate the interest and the passive income. And older folks stressed bank accounts, saving, and made up the idea that money in the bank will generate interest, and that will allow it to grow faster than the rate of inflation. But please understand, money in the bank will depreciate, while assets inflate and generate. $100 in the bank will lower in value because of our inflation way faster than it's going to gain interest. Unless you have like a really large sum of money, and even then, if you leave that same amount in the bank for too long, it's going to depreciate. That's just the way it is. But say a piece of property that rises in value. Money in the bank depreciates. Money in assets inflates. Okay, so you paid 80 grand 50 years ago for a property that's now worth what, 150K, maybe even more. Excuse me. If you sit on these assets, you are almost guaranteed to end up doubling up or better with nothing but a little patience. Now, this doesn't mean you cannot double up or better with your money in the bank. There's always different ways to do it. But in a simple savings account, it is unlikely. There are many kinds of accounts, locked interest rates, and various things that you can do to truly receive a substantial amount of interest from. Understanding things like how life insurance policies work is meant to, can be benefited from while living. You don't have to die to get life insurance. You can utilize your life insurance while you're here. It's crucial to learn these things. We have to stop listening to those in the mediocre and below positions and learn from the professionals and the doers that have actually accumulated a significant amount of money, assets, insurance, and security that is worthy of the successful label. We can work as hard as we want, but employers will be paid based off our time, not on your quality or quantity of work. And if you do, be grateful, because you're a small percentage and you're very fortunate. But there's still a cap. So proper banking, self-employment, passive income, these are extremely necessary. These are vocab words that you need to study. We have to provide successful security for our families, for ourselves. Investments are everything. Some will buy property and pay to run water in it their entire lives. They're not renting. They went and bought the property. That's smart. But a lot of people bought a property that forces them to have to pay for water forever. You know? Other people will buy the property and drill a well. And if it's under, 80 foot under the ground, you're able to hand bang it and just bang the pipe down into the ground. I mean, you know, let's face it, it's asinine to have to pay for water to begin with. So if you're fortunate enough to put a well in, put a well in. Also the water's better for you in most cases. Like, maybe living local to all the things needed off your property. Instead of making 70 plus payments, plus insurance, plus maintenance and taxes, to simply drive down the street, why not buy a $300 bike? Save the difference. And then when and if a car is needed, pay for it up front and dodge the interest and years of taxes on that asset you really don't own. It's not your car. You're financing it. It's not yours. You stop making the payments on it and you'll see it's not yours. You can make any kind of excuse that you want, but let's do the breakdown. You make $3,000 a month. Your bills take up $2.5 grand. You are working with a sixth of your income. One medical bill, one leak in the roof, and you won't have your car anyways. We complain about our lack of funds, but we pay out for non-needed things a lot of times. Why buy a $300,000 house? You can buy a $30,000 piece of land. Build a home for $100,000. Alright, you understand me? $150,000 compared to $300,000. Paid off in 10 years. Or the $300,000 property that'll be paid off in 45 years. It only makes sense we reevaluate our expenses and make corrections. If we can reduce our monthly costs, there would be no reason not to have investment funds to push towards a method of earning a form of passive income. And there's no simple recipe to financial success and financial literacy. All of our positions are different, and the resources vary. Time and responsibilities differ, etc., etc. So take time to be open-minded and review your positions. Speak with several different kinds of professionals. Several of each kind can take notes from those who are successful and who walk the talk. We owe it to ourselves and to everyone dependent on us to revise our movements in order to provide real financial stability and an abundance for us and our generations to come. When you find out this information, like all knowledge in life, the meaning and purpose of life, pass along that information. Publish it in any way that you can. The tips and tricks of the trade to allow others to save and save them from the slavery of poverty. This is all up to us, and it begins today. Trust me, your children will thank you. Your husband will thank you. Your wife will thank you. You will thank you. Because you will have something much greater than what it is you have now. And that it starts now. We have to do this now. You have to get financially. Stop making excuses. Do not make excuses. If you can pay that rent on time every month and not make excuses to your landlord, don't make an excuse to yourself. Your children need to eat every day, and you feed them every single day, and you will not give them an excuse on why you cannot. Don't do different for yourself. You can make that phone payment. You can buy that Starbucks coffee. You can wait in lines and do all this extra stuff. Then why can't you do what you need to do? What's best for you? And financial literacy is a start to that. That's a lot of information. And I hope you followed. I hope you're still with me on this. please leave comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, everything in the comments down below. We're publishing lots of different media platforms on information like this, and in times to come I will be sharing particular financial advisors and companies. If you're looking to improve your credit or debt consolation, any of these things, financial counseling and advisory, I plan to be sharing some of the names and companies and brands of some of the best people that I feel can steer you in the right direction with these things. As always, I love y'all. Stay tuned, and I will be back soon for the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe.